strange case. One of the strangest ways of disappearance in the 20th century. A group of tourists decided to enter the Great Pyramid, but they did not get out of it. An ancient pharaonic idol kidnapped 15 tourists in the pyramid. Does the Great Pyramid have a secret room that has not been discovered yet? Why is everyone interested in this room so far? He discovers what is inside this room. Today's story came out of the secret file of the Soviet intelligence. A story that if you hear it, you will not believe that it even exists, but in fact it was mentioned in international newspapers. A full documentary film was made about this story between reality and fiction, a true story. You will always find their interpretations illogical, and the story begins with a group of Russian tourists who wanted to visit the area of the pyramids, numbering 15 tourists. The entire tour bus was the last place they saw the hotel, and then decided to visit the area of the pyramids, and they actually went to the pyramid area with bus guides, tickets and memorial photos, and as soon as they entered the area of the pyramid, all their news was cut off. The last information we know about them, and after a while, their families were informed of their disappearance, and the disappearance was reported. The police opened a quick investigation. What happened? They began collecting information to know where they disappeared. Where and here the young people's parents began to confess to the police what happened, and they can say information that helps them in the case that they were coming to Egypt, not for the purpose of tourism, and that they were coming for the purpose of performing rituals in front of the Great Pyramid, and that they worshipped an ancient pharaonic god named Osiris, and that they were imagining or thinking that when they went to the pyramid on the night of the 23rd of the year, they would be able to perform certain rituals that would bring Osiris back to life again. Well, then what happened? The tourists were not found, but the police were able to find the first thread of the tourists or evidence of their presence, which is a camera that captured all the events from the first time they were on the bus until the moment of their disappearance. So the camera starts recording random photos and pictures of the young men on the bus, and they even got off until they went in front of the Great Pyramid, and the first thing that the pyramid saw of its fear, they fixed the camera and began to perform rituals. They began to get down on their knees and began to kneel and prostrate to the pyramid in a hysterical manner. All this happened while they recited incantations and rituals specific to the Great Pyramid. He expects the camera on the ground, and the tourists start shouting at the top of their voice until the sound is completely reduced, and he is silent for once today. No one knows about them. The investigations stopped until this moment, and no one knew anything about them, and the Egyptian authorities ended the investigation of the case for insufficient evidence. Do you think why a group of tourists disappeared? In a strange way. In order to understand the issue well, we must go back 15 years for the past, in order to understand the whole story. At the time of the Cold War between America and the Soviet Union, specifically in 1961, everyone was racing over who would lead to more inventions and more scientific development because the global development to prove who was more dominant in the region, and despite the Soviet Union was much superior, but the intelligence services were looking for the method is better and better, and because they believed that the ancient civilizations were more developed than this time, so they decided to discuss the best civilization throughout the ages. They said we search for it a little, we can find something useful. The goal was to use these civilization techniques in military applications and advanced weapons, but the choice of reality on the ancient Egyptian civilization, the pyramid the largest, especially the room of knowledge inside the Great Pyramid, a room of secrets located inside the Great Pyramid, but no one knows where it is exactly. A secret agreement was made with the Egyptian government, in which all the Egyptians had contact over the ages with President Gamal Abdel Nasser studying the area of the Egyptian pyramids under the leadership of Sami Sharaf, and all of this was in a secret operation called the ISIS Project. One day, two Bedouins reported the existence of a cemetery they had found in the Giza area, and they said that this cemetery contained a very strange thing. In fact, the search came back to work, and the intelligence service decided to search the cemetery that was found, and here the shock was when searching in the cemetery, a room was found in it. 5 boxes of samples for writing hieroglyphs, but the most important thing in this cemetery is the old sarcophagus that is in it, and on the door it says that it is dedicated to Ode with wings. Who staked the mummy with wings? To know the answer to the question, the answer is inside the cemetery. When they entered, the Soviet soldiers and scientists, their attention was drawn to the presence of an ancient Egyptian coffin. White gases and smoke, and its shape is very strange, and in the documentary film that was recorded on the project, ISIS, the consultant said that the soldiers felt that there was negative energy and that there was no need for them to complete the project inside the cemetery, and that there was negative energy that was not natural at all from the place, and after examining them, they were cursed by the mummy. Its age reaches 12,000 BC, and scientists are convinced that this is the real time when the pyramid was adopted. After that, the Soviets took the mummy with them. Until now, no one knows where it went or where this cemetery was discovered in Giza. It was called the visiting mummy, and here we need to talk a little about why here they called it the mummy the visitor, and that the Soviet Union was completely convinced that this mummy was not a mummy of humans and that it was the mummy of a person who came from another planet to visit the Egyptian gods and took place a long time ago, and that they knew that the ancient Egyptian had all the life sciences and the ancient Egyptian civilization progress. These were the words of the Soviet Union, and they walked in the second place, except for one of them. Pharaoh was sitting, and he is Osiris, and he had a room in which he moved from our world to his world in space. In ancient times, it is not far from Osiris himself, and we go back to the story of the Russian tourists. Where are they? In the pyramid area, and this Safavid was established because their idol returned again. And what happened? But why did this happen? And they celebrated where? No one knows why. Was this the first strange story that happened in the pyramids area? In 1 year, a channel appeared on YouTube and published one video, but the video was written in it, "I am the owner of the video, and if the government did not reach me, it sent me $5 million. I will publish the rest of the video within 12 hours. By the remote control, a person starts moving the cart on the tunnel road, and the camera prefers to walk for a while until it receives a solid light from the tunnel, and suddenly the video cuts off. But the video received high views, and despite that, no parties contacted him. This young man wrote a warning, "I don't know more than what is in the video, and no one sends me and tells me what this is. I am like this." A very long tunnel. In the tunnel is a mysterious creature that looks like the drawings of the ancient Egyptians, and that the object is not human. In the era of the Caliph al-Ma'mun, he tried to open the pyramid in 1820 AD, and he told him that the reason for this was his belief that there were treasures inside the pyramid, but this was not the only reason. He always says that the pyramid hides the secrets of the present and the past, and that in the secret room inside the pyramid are the treasures of civilizations. Al-Ma'mun ordered a search inside the pyramid to find the secret room, the knowledge chamber. What do you think? I hope you write to me in the comments, but my personal opinion is that the topic is incorrect because there are aliens in it. Some people want to prove that the builders of the pyramids are not pharaohs, but those built by aliens. But I care about your opinion. Why the tourists disappeared, and what is the story of the mummy? It is 2 meters long, and is there a secret room in the pyramid? Would you write to me and tell me that this is real and no imagination? And here the story ends.